Your brother, your friend, your dietitian back again for another installment. Inspirit Nutrition. Linear versus residual income. Let's get it pop. Residual versus linear income. What is linear income? What is residual income? Linear income deals with income that you work. It basically is dependent upon how many hours you work. That's how many dollars you get paid. So for example, if you go into work and you work 9 to 5 and you get paid $100 for that day, that's linear income. If you wake up and you're sick and you don't go to work and you don't get paid because of that, that's a sign that your income source is a linear income based income source. I want to show a pictograph, and basically it breaks down how there's linear income where it's dependent upon how many hours you can put in. So if you're an employee, when you clock in, when you put in 8 hours, 12 hours, 16 hours, you're capped at how many hours how many man hours you physically put in. Same goes for if you're self-employed and you don't have any employees, or let's say you do have employees, but you're just self-employed. If you're self-employed, you have a job still, but you don't work for someone else. You work for yourself. So if you put in 10 hours, you get paid for 10 hours worth of work. If you put in 12 hours, if you put in 15 hours, etc. For example, if you're a consultant and you charge your clients $1,000 an hour, if you put in 8 hours, you get $8,000. But it's all based on how much you put in, and it's limited by time. It's limited by your physical presence being there, and it's limited by your own manpower. Whereas residual income is income that continuously comes in regardless if you're physically present or regardless if you're there clocking in and doing man hours. So for example, it's something called royalty checks or royalties. So you may film a commercial, and every time that commercial runs, you get a certain income from that commercial. You get a certain royalty check. You may produce a beat, and instead of just selling the beat, every time the beat spins, every time the beat is heard, or every time the beat is on the Spotify track or what have you, you get some residual income. Okay. Another example is if you wrote a book. Say you spend 500 hours writing a book. When I say 500 hours, that's time, your time spread out writing a book. In 2, 3, 4 years from now, when that book is on the shelves and it's selling, you have residual income. You could be on a beach, you could be asleep, you could be in the labor and delivery department giving birth to your firstborn son, or watching your firstborn son being born, and money's coming into the account from the book that you bought, right? Another thing or the book that you wrote. Another thing that you could do, and nowadays a lot of people are doing it, are ebooks. So you can come up with an ebook, you can come up with music, like for example, Drake, he put out a mixtape called "If You're Reading This It's Too Late." Beautiful thing about that is that's residual income. He worked hard in the studio, produced, got those tracks produced, got Quentin Miller to write those rhymes for him. No, but he wrote his lyrics, or he had someone else write them, ghostwrite them, whatever. Produced it, put it on iTunes, and now he sits back and relax. He can sit back and relax. He has residual income. So now he worked maybe 100 hours to produce that album, that EP, that mixtape, what have you. And now residually, every time somebody downloads it, every time it spins on Spotify, on Tidal, on Apple Music, he gets residual income. Residual income is more intelligent because you want to work smarter and not harder. So you can produce music, you can produce an ebook. That's another thing that people are doing, are ebooks. You can write an ebook, throw it up on Amazon, and every time somebody downloads it, you get residual income. You get money from that. You don't have to work from that, right? The interesting thing is, if you your own business, or you own what I like to call a money making machine, or if you own real estate, then you'll be producing residual income. So say you own real estate, every month you own a quadruplex or a fourplex, every month you get rental income from 4 different tenants every month. If they're good tenants and they're on point, every month you get 4 checks, right? And say it only takes 2 of those checks to cover the mortgage, and it only takes another check to cover emergency expenses and any maintenance and repairs. So the maintenance includes your handyman, includes the contractor that you have, and it includes the manager. So you got fourplex, each paying 4 G's. 2 of the G's cover the mortgage, 1 G covers the management expenses, maintenance, and any emergencies. And then you have a last G that's just residual income that just comes to you. So that's an example with real estate. Another example, when you have your own system or money making machine, is you hire out a manager or someone underneath you, not underneath you, but you hire out someone else to do the work for you, a capable manager, and you sit back and you let the money flow. For example, if you own a McDonald's, you have employees and you interview first. When you start and open a McDonald's or any type of organic, fast food restaurant, Native Foods, or whatever you want to come up with, you're going to be there managing it yourself and running it yourself and learning the ins and outs of it. But eventually you get to a point where you hire a capable, able-bodied manager that can replace you. So now that you're replaced, you can sit back, relax, and let the residual income come in. This is how wealthy people operate, basically. The last way you can produce residual income, well, there's a lot of ways, but the last way I'm going to discuss here is investments. Excuse me. So with investments, what basically you do with investments is you make your money work for you. So it's pretty much the same in businesses. You just have people working for you, and you have the money that you invest in the business and the money that you invest in people working for you, and ideas and missions and values. That's what people love and what they subscribe to and they sign up for, and that's why they join your organization. But in investments, you may invest in gold, you may invest in Tesla, you may invest in Solar City stock, you may invest in Johnson & Johnson stock, you may invest in Coca-Cola, whatever. You may invest in whatever kind of stock. You may invest in silver, precious metals, commodities, etc. And you get dividends, or you get returns on your investments. So most wealthy people don't work. They just live off of residual income. They just have dividends. They have investments that are coming in, royalty checks. That's how they survive. I'll give you an example. If someone has a net worth of 20 million, right? And they say they want to live, say they want to get, 20 mil, right? And they say they have an overall investment of 20 mil, but they want to live off of a salary of 600K a year, right? 600K is comfortable if you already own your house, you already have a nice car. 600K, you could get by. Let's say that's their number. They only need to make that 20 G's. You only need about 10% return on those 20 G's. You probably need more than that. You probably need like 15. You'll need 7 to 15% return on that 20 G's in order to have some type of growth and protecting your money. And what does that mean? I'm talking numbers, so let me just calculate it out. 15% of 20 G's means that you get 3 mil a year from the investments of your wealth. And when I say you have a net worth, or you have a wealth, a value of 20 mil, people may think, what do you mean by that? That means your investments, your assets. That could be homes that you have. That could be classic automobiles. That could be art. That could be precious metals. That could be fur coats. Everything that you own, bonds, stocks, it adds up to 20 mil. That most assets appreciate in value and liabilities depreciate in value, or they cost you money, right? So if you have $20 million worth of assets, they should be producing 15% every year or 10% every year. If they're producing 10% every year, then you'll get a certain return on that money. So you get a return of 10% of 20 mil is what? That's going to be 2 mil, right? So every year you get 2 mil and you live off the 2 mil, but you're worth 20 mil, right? So that's how the wealthy live. Now you can recalculate that and say they're worth 1 mil and they're living off of 100,000, or you could say they're worth 6 mil and they're living off of 200,000, or they're living off of 100,000 a year. But the point is they're taking their net worth, their assets, making them produce a certain percentage, and then they're living off of that passively. That's more intelligent for people who want to have financial freedom, because now you separate time isn't a factor in terms of money, or hours put in doesn't equal money. In linear time and linear income, hours put in equals money. If you stop putting hours in, you drop off the money. With residual income, you put hours in intensely, you plan intelligently, and the money still flows even when you stop working. You're here and the money continuously flows, right? But with linear, as soon as you stop working, boom, you start getting paid. So that's why people have to work until they die, because they only have linear income. But if you have residual income, you can stop working and the money can still come in because of the mailbox money that's coming in, because of the royalties, because of the residual income, because of the things that you did in the past that are producing money now. It's stated that you have residual bills. Why not develop residual income? Residual bills meaning that you're going to have money coming, you're going to have bills due just because you're alive, because you need to eat, because you need to use the restroom, because you need to wash your face, because you need to pay waste management, because of water the grass, put on clothes, for your deodorant, drawers, everything. It's residual cost just for existing. It's expensive. But if you're wise, you're active, you're intelligent, you can create residual income. There's different ways of doing it. Research it, look into it. And we're just gonna keep building. Add to the build, ask any questions, make suggestions, share some resources. Your brother, your friend, your dietitian. Back in for another installment, Inspirit Nutrition. Peace and blessings.